Hello children, let's begin with the next topic of the chapter, Lifelines of the National Economy, that is waterways. Since the time immemorial, India was one of the seafaring countries. Its seamen sailed far and near, thus carrying and spreading Indian commerce and culture. As you all know, that is since ancient times we are traveling we are doing the trade also and the travel also through the sea, through the waterways. So waterways is the oldest and the cheapest means of the transport. They are more suitable for carrying heavy and bulky goods. It is fuel efficient, environment friendly mode of transport. These are the advantages of the waterways. India has inland navigation. That is, inland navigation means that is within the India we are covering the area of 14,500 kilometer. That is through the rivers. Out of these, only 5685 km navigable by the merchandise boat. Following waterways have been declared in the national waterways by the government. That is Ganga River between Allahabad and Haldia, Brahmaputra River between Sadia and Dubri, West Coast Canal in Kerala, Kottapuram, Komal, Udgamandalam, Champakara, and Canals 205, National Waterway number 3. Other inland waterways include the Godavari, Krishna, Barak, Sundarbans, Buckingham Canal, Brahmani, East-West Canal, and Damodar Valley Corporation Canal. Apart from these, India's trade with foreign countries is carried from the ports located along the coast. 95% of countries' trade volume, 68% in terms of value, is moved by the sea. Now, major seaports of the country. We have the coastline of 7516.6 km. We have 12 major and 200 medium-sized ports are there, and minor ports. These ports handle 95% of the foreign exchange. Let's begin with the Kandla in Kutch, was the first port. It was developed after the independence to ease the volume of the trade on the Mumbai port, because we have lost the Karachi port because of the partition. Kandla is a tidal port. Tidal port means that the tides help in the dredging of the dredging of the rivers, or dredging of the sea. That is the removal of the sediments from the ocean, from the coastal area. That is called as the dredging. So that's why this port, because tides help in removal of the sediments from the coastal area. So that's why this Kandla port is called as your that is a tidal port. It caters to the convenient handling of export and imports of highly productive granary and industrial wear. That is all the granary of the northern plains of India. It is transported through this Kandla port only. Stretching across the states of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Gujarat. This is the location of the Kandla port in the Gujarat, that is in the run of the Kutch. So all the granaries that are produced in the India, especially in the North India and a few parts of the Southern India, they all are transported through this Kandla port to the western countries. Mumbai is the biggest port with a spacious, natural and well sheltered harbour. Jawaharlal Nehru port was planned with the view to decongest the Mumbai port and serve as a hub port of this region. See, Mumbai port. This is the Mumbai port, and near to it only Jawaharlal Nehru port, it was opened to reduce the pressure on the Mumbai port. Then your Marmagaon port. It is the iron ore exporting port. Total iron ore that is produced in this belt, that is totally exported through the Marmagaon port and the New Mangalore port. New Mangalore port is located near the, you can see here in the border of the Kerala and the Karnataka, New Mangalore port. I'll show you the map of the, that is your Kudramukh mines also. See the location of Kudramukh mines, that is near this is Mangalore, that is the New Mangalore port, and near to it is the Kudramukh mines. Kudramukh mines is the total iron ore. It is the iron ore that is produced in the Kudramukh mines. It is totally exported to the western countries, okay, and only through this New Mangalore port. Moving to the east coast, you would see the extreme south coast of Tuticorin in Tamil Nadu. This port has a natural harbour and a rich hinterland. Hinterland is the area that connects the far areas, okay. I'll show you the Tuticorin port. You can see in the map, this is the Tuticorin port that connects the far off areas of the Tamil Nadu state. Thus, it has a flourishing trade handling of a large variety of cargoes and even to our neighbouring countries like Sri Lanka, Maldives, coastal regions of the India. Chennai is the oldest artificial ports of the country. It is ranked next to Mumbai in terms of the volume of trade and cargo. That is, even transporting the ships, we use the Chennai port. Visakhapatnam is the deepest landlocked port. This port was originally conceived as an outlet to the iron ore export, because iron ore is basically produced in the southern part of the India. That's why it is transported to the Visakhapatnam port. It is produced in this part of the India. See, this is the Chennai port. It is the oldest port of the India, and it is used for transporting the cargoes also. Kolkata is an inland riverine port. See the Kolkata. This is the Kolkata port and this is the Haldia port. Both are located near the Kolkata. this Haldia port, it was opened to reduce the pressure on the Kolkata port. So that's why and this Kolkata port, it is a riverine port. Riverine port, that is a port that is on the river. So it is located on the Hooghly river. So that's why it is called as the riverine port. This port serves as a very large rich hinterland of Ganga Brahmaputra basin. Being a tidal port, it requires constant dredging, means removal of the mud of the Hooghly. Haldia port was developed as a subsidiary port in order to relieve growing pressure on the Kolkata port.